All right, Defensive Security Cooperation Agency, Appendix 8, Section 506 and 552 of the Foreign Assistance Presidential Drawdown. Program description, program specific guides and restriction, key stakeholders, planning, congressional notification requirements, execution reporting requirements, legislation authorities, if applicable, additional if needed, information if needed. Alright, Program Description 1-1 Definition Purpose of the Foreign Assistance of the Authorized of the President of the Direct and Transfer Article Services from Inventory Resources to Agency U.S. United States Guard to support foreign partners, international organization response to overseeing military emergencies or other legislative authorized purposes of the different authorized purposes of drawdowns are summarized in the authority listing provided in section program description 8. The drawdowns may include transfer to DoD stock, defense articles, services, military education, and training, except for transportation-related services where new contracts would cost less than providing such services. DoD asset with new procurement, and not authorized drawdowns. No new funds may be placed on existing contracts. 2. Program specific guidance and restriction. Partner eligibility defense articles and services may be drawn down, transferred for leave foreign partner international organizations only if the President issue of the presidential determination in accordance with the Foreign Assistance Act. Foreign Assistance Act, Section 503, eligibility determination must be completed with the Department of State within required with the Foreign Assistance Act. Section 505, assurances must be signed proposed foreign partner and recipient before drawdown can be executed. Type of drawdowns: emergency drawdowns. Drawdowns are participated by emergency and foreign partners, territory or region, National Security Council, state, DoD, hereafter referred to as interagency, coordinated with the United States Guard. Response: interagency process that determines existing statutory drawdown authority supplied with and identified with the article. Services should be provided with the potential consisting USG agencies, U.S. Guard agencies, and the military services furnish evaluation availability data to the officer of the United States officer under the Secretary of Defense, indicating an estimated value of the article service of the anticipated drawdown. The Defensive Security Cooperation Agency offers international operations tasks military departments to provide V&A data and strategic readiness, impact assessment, operation maintenance, budget impact assessments. All available to article services may be drawn down from DoD stock, ensure with identification available articles comply with the enhanced and use of monitoring and targeting infrastructure policies. The Defensive Security Corporation IOP's offices, international operations, provide interagency to the Department of Defense V&A data, strategic readiness, impact assessment, article services that are under consideration directly offices of the Undersecretary of Defense policy to inform planning and trade-off decisions, interagency recommendations when the articles and services should be provided, take into consideration current availability, potential strategic readiness impact to the U.S. forces. The President accomplishes of the presidential or PD presidential determination defining the defined scope of the maximum dollar authorized specific drawdown after emergency drawdowns. Authorized drawdown execution message issued. Drawdown execution message is prepared, issued with the Defensive Security Cooperation Agency and the Office of International Operations. Identifies the articles and services that may be provided under the drawdown organization authorized to provide articles and services, associated reporting requirements, serial number, certification of partner, storage facilities of the EEUM, or enhanced user monitoring, design articles targeting infrastructure compliance, packaging, crating, handling, transportation costs, actual value of drawdowns and deliveries, emergency drawdowns, and of the value of the presidential decision, presidential determination authority, exhaust for the U.S. response with emergency ends, to document and the drawdown pursuant interagency direction of the Defensive Security Corporation Agency and Office of International Operations, send out termination message. Non-emergency drawdowns. Drawdowns may be authorized in a non-emergency situation to support mid and to long-term foreign policy initiatives such as international narcotics drawdown, anti-terrorism assistance, international disaster assistance, non-proliferation assistance, mitigation, refuge assistance, or cooperative efforts, peacekeeping operations. Non-emergency drawdown procedures. The same emergency drawdown procedures. SIFTA's planning timeline may extend to allow for more deliberate trade-off decisions. For non-emergency drawdowns, the presidential determination will provide a total value of the drawdown which cannot exceed the articles and services authorized for the transfer will be determined by an iterative process that may take up to several months to complete vice of the accelerated planning timeline required for the emergency drawdowns. After the articles services authorize the transfer will determine the drawdown execution message issued. The delivery of the articles and services may take place over an extended period similar to emergency drawdowns and non-emergency drawdowns, and when the value of the presidential termination authority is exhausted and or interagency of the Defensive Security Corporation agency and the Office of International Operations to issue termination message. Type of article services to include transportation training provided and training provided under drawdowns when necessary to facilitate effectiveness of transfer of major end items. Drawdown support should include complete support package include for operation and maintenance of the major end items. Articles transferred equipment that must have been DoD stock or in order at the time of the presidential determination was approved. Unless otherwise authorized, the material must be provided in a condition B or fully mission capable condition or a 1020 standard or better. Associated spare part requisitions are processed on the fill and kill basis. The approval of the 8 drawdown is notified in Congress. The mill DEPS mill departments cannot place hold in reserve or fence equipment or spare part prior to release of the Defensive Security Corporation Agency Office of International Operations drawdown execution message. Defensive working capital funds. Defensive working capital funds items may be used to fulfill the drawdown requirements pursuant to Undersecretary of Defense Comptroller policy of the DoD Financial Management Regulation or DoD FMR Volume 12, Chapter 23, Section 2305. Military Department uses for the operational maintenance funds to reimburse working capital account. The DWCF or Defensive Working Capital Fund may only use stock that was on hand ordered before presidential determination was approved to fulfill requisition order, and its responsibility of the military department seek confirmation working capital accountability to fill requisition for existing stock on an order stock before submitting the requisition. Special Defense Acquisition Fund. The military department may not purchase items of the Special Defense Acquisition Fund to provide drawdown support unless allowed by case-by-case basis. Articles designed to enhance end-user monitoring. Military departments must report serial numbers of end-user monitoring. Articles advance shipment of the Defense Security Corporation Agency, Office's International Operation Global Execution Directorate, End-Use Monitoring Division, the DSSA.EMU help desk at Mill. Viva non-classified internet protocol router network and email. Military department responsible for conducting physical security inspections for certification of partner storage facilities before enhanced end user management. Designated weapon systems, enhanced case unique weapon systems delivered or moved to new and uncertified facilities with the exemption of the night vision devices, communication security equipment in hostile environments. Articles requiring target infrastructure compliance. Military department may provide assessment if the partner has sufficient previously established a U.S. agency or third-party solution for targeting infrastructure. The Defense Security Corporation Agency, Office of the International Operation Weapons Directive. Services of the Department of Defense and the DoD personnel may provide support of services in support of drawdown. DoD contractors may be used to provide drawdown services. The military department obligated with the Operation Maintenance Fund with the contract service of the program presidential determination approval. After presidential determination is approved, The mill department may not incur a new obligation under existing new contract to support drawdown. The nature of the services provided with the DoD personnel with the DoD contractors must fall within the scope of the presidential termination services are considered delivered at time of performance upon completion. Transportation, packing, and crate handling. The United States Transportation Command is generally responsible for the coordinating, executing air-sea lift of cargo in designated theater locations, ensuring that they arrive at the end user. The mill department is responsible for the continental United States and based on the package care and handling, which includes cargo movement of the CONUS, base port, embarkment, consolidation points. New commercial contract for the transport-related services may be used if the cost is less than the USGS assets. Existing contract resources may be used for airlift and sea lift if their scope covers the proposed use, such as a time charter multiple air mission agreements. All transportation and packaging, carrying, and handling costs must include the total presidential drawdown authority amount. Any CONUS transportation efforts should fall under the package care and crating and handling outside of the continental United States transportation efforts should fall under a separate transportation line of the presidential directive. Mill department allocated transportation package crate and handling execution message respond with the cost of the transport equipment to the end user, including U.S. Transportation Command for all costs incurred where applicable. Military department must report packaging, crating, and handling and transportation costs into the Defense Security Corporation Agency 1000 systems within 90 days based on the bills received from the organization responsible for executing the movement. Cargo Preferences Act of 1954 is specified in Title 46 U.S. Standard Code 55305. The drawdown item transferred by ocean carrier must follow U.S. cargo preference requirements and requirements. Receipt partners must be U.S. flag vessels unless Maritime Administration has issued non-availability waiver. Maritime Administration assists with the monitoring these statutes. The military department must consider cargo preferences requirements when considering transportation operation of the drawdown. The responsible Maritime Administration, U.S. Maritime Administration Office of Cargo Preference and Domestic Trade, 1200 New Jersey Avenue Southeast, MAR 730 W23444, for Washington, D.C. 2590. Drawdown value and thresholds. Drawdowns must be executed with applicable statutory thresholds, notified values. Defense Security Cooperation leverages drawdown execute order reporting Defensive Security Cooperation Agency 1000 systems to ensure that drawdown execution does not exceed the accept applicable value threshold. The executive order is developed by the Defensive Security Corporation Agency in coordination with the military department to identify the estimated quantity and value of defense articles, services, military department stocks, and resources available to support the drawdown. The Defensive Security Corporation Agency issues executive order. Military departments are responsible for reporting Defensive Security Cooperation Agency 1000 systems actually quantity, value of the defense articles, services provided to benefit foreign partner within 90 days of delivery. Value of the article. The value of the drawdown article is calculated pursuant to the DoD FMR 7014R Volume 4 Chapter 4 for inventory related property, operating materials and supply stockpile material, Department of Defense FMR Volume 4 Chapter 25 General Equipment. Value training. Value drawdown military education training is based on the additional incremental costs incurred by the USG to provide for training and grant incremental rate pursuant to the DoD FMR 7014R Volume 15 Chapter 7. Value of services. Value of services provided in drawdowns is based on the actual cost of the USG that provided services funded civilian pay, travel, per diem cost of military civilian personnel performing approved support role devoted exclusively to the drawdown effort included with the computing of the value of the drawdown. Services value does not include the salaries of the active duty members, U.S. Armed Forces, unfunded civil retirement and other benefits. The Defensive Security Corporation Agency reconciliation drawdown authority. Defensive Security Cooperation Agency conducts some routine reconciliations between military departments' reported actuals and the Defense of the Security Corporation Agency 1000 systems and estimates included in the executive order. Reconciliation enabled identification of residual remaining authority of the executive order that could use to provide additional capability for the benefiting partner within the scope of the original presidential determination notification, or that can be approved, the other approved of the presidential determination. As such, the military department timely reporting actual deliveries. Defense of Security Corporation Agency 1000 systems is critical to the Defense of Security Corporation Agency reconciliation efforts to accurately track available authority. Drawdown valuations. Value of the drawdown begins during the executive order development when the military department provides the Defense of Security Corporation Agency estimated value and quantity of the defense articles service of the tax available to reserve that could be supported with the drawdown effort. Military Department report with the Defense of the Security Corporation Agency 1000 system final valuation defense articles service provided on particular drawdown efforts based on actual deliveries. DoD components are expected to adhere to the established valuation guidance of the following SAMM paragraphs applicable section Department of Defense FMR when providing initial valuation estimate of the Defense of the Security Corporation Agency during executive order development when reporting actual violation of the delivered defensive articles through the Defense of Security Corporation Agency 1000 systems estimated cost of the replace the defensive articles service provided with the presidential determination cannot be used either with the initial estimated valuation or the final reported valuation. Value of the articles. Value of the drawdown of the articles are calculated pursuant to the DoD FMR 7014 R Volume 4, Chapter 4 for inventory related to property of the operating material supply with the stockpile materials and the DoD FMR Volume Chapter 4, Chapter 25 for general equipment. Military department should only replace the cost of value to the cost replacement of the cost of the value of the defense articles when all other options of evaluations are exhausted. Develop an initial estimate of the executed orders. Developing valuation estimates as part of the presidential executive orders. Department of Defense and components should adhere with the valuation policy outlined following the SAMM sections to great extent possible to facilitate rapid execution during the emergency drawdown, when drawdown execution otherwise time-sensitive, the urgent. The DoD components may provide Defense of Security Cooperation Agency with the average net book value of the group of the similar defense article with the initial executive order estimate. This includes general equipment operating manuals and supply PDA articles and will not be valued below 10% of the historical cost. If the historical cost is not available, articles will not be valued 10% of their catalog standard price, which may serve as a reasonable estimation or of historical cost. Using historical cost is required when possible. PDA articles classified as GE or OM&S DoD components required a historical cost, also known as acquisition cost, less than accumulated depreciation net book value. The one exemption is depreciated GE PDA article will not be valued below 10% of the historical cost. Historical cost is not available. Depreciated GE PDA article will not be valued below 10% of its catalog or standard price, which may serve as a reasonable estimation of historical cost. The PDA valuation purpose of the DoD components are not required to use moving average cost methods to value OMS and PDA articles. Use deemed cost method when necessary. Should the DoD components be unable to determine the historical cost of PDA article classified GE, OM&S, are permitted to deem the cost, perform an evaluation. Approved deemed cost method must include the replacement cost or fair value of the cost of similar answer at the time of the acquisition, contract-based estimates, budget-based estimates. DoD components may utilize or a combination of the evaluations method evaluating GE PDA articles. Additional deemed cost methods permissible in OM&S or as follows: standard selling price or fair value, latest acquisition cost, replacement cost, estimated historical initial amounts, actual historical initial amounts. Valuation of fully depreciated general equipment. DoD components may use the net book value to determine the value of the GE article, government equipment, general equipment articles provided under the presidential determination A. I'm not sure what that was. The PDA valuation purpose of the fully depreciated when the general equipment with the zero net book value must be valued 10% of the estimated historical cost. If the historical cost is not available to 10% of the catalog standard price with a reasonable estimation of the general equipment Salvage value. Valuation of general equipment below capitalization threshold. The DoD components are authorized of the different general equipment capitalization thresholds for the financial reporting purposes. $1 million for the Navy and Air Force general funds, DoD intelligent reporting entities. $250,000 are other DoD general funds with the working capital funds. General equipment under capitalization threshold expense is period purchase is not reported in the general equipment on the components balance sheet. However, the property accountability purpose for the equipment of the DoD instruction 5064 accountability management of the DoD equipment and other accountability property. All property, including general equipment with a historical cost of $5,000 or more, may be recorded accountable property system of the record. PDA evaluation purposes, general equipment at $5,000 or more below the financial reporting capitalization threshold may be valued at historical cost records of the accounting property system of records. General equipment below the accounting property system records threshold, currently 5,000. General equipment must be valued using Web Federal Logistic Information System, Web Phyllis catalog price and standard price Web Phyllis issued. Value of training. Value drawdown military education training is based on the additional incremental costs incurred by the USG as provided with the training grant or incremental rate pursuant to DoD FMR 7014R Volume 15 Chapter 7. Value of services. Value of services provided by the drawdown is based on the actual cost of the USG, but it provides services. This excludes funded civilian pay, travel, and peer redeemed cost of the military civilian personnel. This is limited to the service performance provided support role with the devoted exclusively with the drawdown effort. Include when computing value of the drawdown services. Value does not include salaries, active duty members of the U.S. Armed Forces, unfunded civilian retirement, other benefits. DoD component reconciliation of articles provided under the Presidential Drawdown Authority. All the Department of Defense components that have the provided articles of Presidential Drawdown Authority are required to reconcile with the records, validate with the valuation of the defense articles and services provided under the Presidential Drawdown Authority in accordance with the guidance provided in Section PD2. The DoD components are most properly updated records is necessary to reflect our accurate delivery and valuation data. Although additionally, DoD components must verify Presidential Drawdown Authority articles delivered partner nation or promptly removed from the USG property and financial records upon completion reconciliation process. The respective DoD components are required to submit with a certification statement of the Office of Under Secretary of Defense, Comptroller, directly confirming reconciliation detailing of the results. DoD components must maintain comprehensive support documentation, facilitate external verification, presidential determination, article valuations by an auditor. This document shall be sufficient. Verify reconciliation should include details causing the update information application of the new valuation period, adjustment, quantity, change of the article variant. All supporting document must be read. All the supporting document must be readily accessible and available upon request. Program key stakeholder: the Department of State. The Department of State serves the USG lead with a state permit presents the interagency proposal of the President of the United States of the President for a presidential determination decision. Notifies Congress of the presidential determination. With the presidential determination is authorized President and State issue the authorization memorandum to execute or supply military departments within the USG. Defensive Security Corporation Agency. The Defensive Security Corporation Agency takes military departments to provide required planning information, collects and coordinates the DoD inputs, analyze presidential determinations, informs combat commands, military departments. Presidential determination tracks overall use of presidential determination authority to ensure presidential determination ceiling is not exceeded, provided with the presidential determining reports to Congress. Combat Command of the cognizant CCMD in conform with the presidential determination requirements. Applicable military determination departments. Military department determines if the articles and services that get provided whether they would be impact the military department's strategic readiness drawdown support provided, whether military department drawdown support is feasible, and the identification of the available articles require compliance with the enhanced end user monitoring, targeting infrastructure policy, reports assessment of the partner, and sufficient previously established U.S. indigenous third-party solutions of targeting infrastructure, serial numbers and certification of partner storage facilities, and item enhanced end user monitoring, designated articles, advanced shipment packaging, creating and handling transportation costs and value drawdowns, reports of the presidential determination delivery, monitors drawdown execution, joint staff monitors the drawdown execution, advises Secretary of Defense of any concern with the presidential determination support adversely affects DoD military readiness, support evaluation, potential sourcing option. Countering teams will support with a combat command to confirm requirements with a partner and include the Service Security Corporation organization if the defense articles or services are to be provided. Office of Secretary of Defense Policy, Office under the Secretary of Defense Policy, and the Secretary of Defense Principal Staff Assistant, and the advisor of all the matters regarding formulation of national security and defense strategies, policy with the integrating oversight of the DoD policy, strategy, plan, execution capability to achieve the national security objective. The Office of Secretary of Defense and Personal Readiness, Office of Secretary of Defense and Personal Readiness, the Presidential, the PSA, PSA, and advisor to the Secretary of Defense of the Total Force Management of the National Guard, Reserve Component Affairs, Readiness of the Training Office of Secretary Defense, and develops the lead analysis of the immediate, long-term, and impacts of the proposed drawdown assistance joint for the readiness. Defense Technology Security Administration, Defense Technology Security Administration review proposed presidential determination packages to ensure compliance with the technology transfer policy, release of classified material, military information, international program security requirements. 4. Program planning. Table PDT1, summary of the drawdown plan of the development process. All personnel supporting planning the developing process of the execution drawdowns itself must charge time and expense incurred with the operation, maintenance, appropriation of the respective service of the agency. The Defensive Security Cooperation Agency will not reimburse the other agencies for personal costs incurred as a result of the presidential determination. Subsequent drawdown article services and or training. Defensive Security Cooperation Agency Cooperation Agency will not authorize the use of foreign military sales, administrative fund lines of accounting support, presidential determination, planning, execution, because of the FMS administrative account does not have the reimbursable authority that thus cannot be reimbursed appropriate operations and maintenance appropriations. Program CN. Department of State formally notifies the Congress of proposed drawdown after receiving approved to proceed with the National Security Council. Program execution, drawdown process, summary of the drawdown planning development process. All personnel supporting planning development process of the execution drawdown themselves must charge time spent expensing orders of the operation and maintenance appropriations of their respective service agencies. Defensive Security Cooperation Agency will not reimburse the other agency for the personal costs incurred as a result of the presidential determination. Subsequent drawdown article services and training. Defensive Service Cooperation Agency also will not authorize foreign military sales administrative funds line account to support a presidential determination planning execution of the FMS administrative account does not have reimbursable authority that cannot be reimbursed of the other Office of Operation and Maintenance appropriations. So the drawdown planning development process, crisis occurs in policy. Step 1, crisis occur, policy situation develops. 2, the interagency process determines drawdown is required. 3, combat commander identifies capability requirements. To the Department of State determines whether the partner human rights issues preclude proposed drawdown assistance. State obtains Foreign Assistance Act, Section 505, Title 22, U.S. Standard Code 2314, end user agreement for proposed recipient partner if one is not already available. A draft down requirement is developed. The Defensive Security Cooperation Agency tasks military department to provide valuation, availability, data, strategic readiness, and impact assessment, operation management, operation and maintenance budget impact assessment, all proposed assistance identification of all which articles require compliance with the enhanced end-user monitoring and targeting infrastructure policy. Military Department provides value and assessment, data, strategic readiness, impact assessment, and Office of Operation and Maintenance budget impact assessment identification, which is available. Articles where require compliance with the enhanced end-user management, and also provide assistance with the Defensive Security Cooperation Agency. Officers, Office of the Undersecretary of Defense Policy, Officer, Secretary of Defense of Personal Readiness, and the rest of the interagency evaluation and asset data and assessments are considered evaluating possible article services of the presidential determination package is finalized. Joint staff of the military departments of the United States Transportation Command investigate, consider sources, solution, report findings of the Defensive Security Cooperation Agency. Through interagency process, finalized of the proposed presidential determination drawdown package is continually reviewed, update. Interagency determines whether articles serve the authorized transfer depending on availability, operational impact to the U.S. forces. To the extent possible, the drawdown execution message will attempt to balance the costs among the military departments. For the required authorization legislation, see listing, see staff coordinate with the congressional notification package. If the required the authorization legislation, Congress notified 15-day prior to completion presidential determination. After application of the Congress is complete, the congressional notification is complete, and the state sends memorandum justification proposed the presidential determination for the president. Finally, the presidential determination authorized the Department of Defense can provide becomes of the base for the reference execution drawdown. 7. The Defensive Security Cooperation Agency prepares issue the drawdown and execution message, identify articles and serve the training that may be provided under the drawdown with the Defensive Security Cooperation Agency. Drawdown execution method must identify the articles that require compliance with the enhanced end user management or monitoring before issuing the Defensive Security Cooperation Agency must have assigned presidential determination of confirming completion of state vetting. Trafficking in Person Child Status Protection Agency Lehigh vetting verifies the absence of human rights concerning the assisted partner, any other legal restriction that would preclude assistance. Copy of the Military Department Strategic Readiness Impact Assessment for articles included with signed presidential determination. The assessment of the part of the sufficient previously established U.S. indigenous third-party solution targeted infrastructure as applicable. A certification of partner storage facilities and advanced shipment of the enhanced end-user monitoring designated articles. 8. The military departments that receive the drawdown and execution measure provide military services, operation, and maintenance funding. The agency organization responsible for the execution of the drawdown. Executing agency organization provides articles and civil training to the recipients. For the Defensive Security Cooperation Agency, OSD, and the OSD and the PR, Joint Chiefs of Staff, and the Combat Commander monitoring to the execution as required, recommended with the interagency authorized update drawdown execution message to curtail further support due to changed circumstances. 10. Military Department submit delivery data with the drawdown Defensive Security Cooperation Agency with 1,000 systems once constructive delivery occurs. Title transfer the department representative of the required tracking data, item service quantity, unit cost, drawdown value, equipment total quantity cost, service repair and training, if applicable, spare parts, designated construction services, support equipment, packing, crating, and handling, transfer total item service costs, and some of all the categories in the items, salaries of the civilian services should be separately identified. Refer to Chapter 8 to verify certification of partner storage facilities and submission of serial numbers of the enhanced end user monitoring designated articles if required. Military Department reconcile the drawdown delivery date, but ensures all costs and elements are reported in the 1,000 System of Defensive Security Cooperation Agency, Office of the Business Operations, Financial Policy Regional Execution Directorate, Financial Readiness and Compliance Division monitors, track the Military Department, reported delivery value of the funding authorized issue, agency, organizational responsibility, execution portion of the drawdown, ensure that delivered values authorized in presidential determination threshold of the DoD cannot exceed drawdown authority provided by the presidential determination. The Defensive Security Cooperation Agency must also ensure that combined drawdown support multiple presidential determination given the official year that did not exceed the legislative limits of the applicable drawdown authority. Defensive Security Cooperation Agency, OMB, FPRE, and FRC provide Section 506 formal report to Congress the articles and service training provided. Alright, 6.2. Delivery material. Articles provided with a partner via the Presidential Drawdown Authority are considered delivered. Constructive delivery occurs in transfer partner either during or prior to physical delivery of the article. Constructive delivery occurs with the transfer prior to physical delivery of the article, determining on most advantage for the military department. Actually, the title transfer of the support partner will depend on the circumstance of the deferring title of transfers until items are physically delivered. The supported partner may take easier on the U.S. government to obtain third-party partner tax exemptions and permission to transmit presidential determination authority material on third-party partners. Military department may also prefer to defer title transfer on physical delivery, preserve the United States decision space during the crisis and other circumstances. Military department may prefer to seek transfer prior to physical delivery earliest possible point of transportation process. When the article deports of the original location consolidated point or the point of embarkment, the military department may prefer to seek title transfer prior to commencing transportation support. If the transfer enables a supported partner to use any funds outside the Presidential Determination Authority, complete modifications, exportable work, and refurbishment efforts of the defense of the article drawdown under Presidential Authority chain over the custody they maintain throughout the entire transportation process. Title transfer. The military department cannot title transfer a supported partner of the unilateral updating military department inventory records. Transfers occur when the supported partner representative completes the paperwork accepting ownership of the transferred material. Department of Defense Form 1348-1A issues release a recipient document. Either the document transfer is issued with the military department unable to provide transfer paperwork directly to partnering representative of the Combat Command representative, Security Cooperation Organization. Joint Command may facilitate receipt and staging onward move of the material designated with the Presidential Determination Authority transfer. Combat Commander representative responsible for completing with the transfer partner paper with a partner representative and the most provided with the documentation included with the transfer equipment, final transfer, chain of custody of the military department, continental United States or CONUS, accountable property officer, property book officer, thorough email, other electronic means of the Army accountable property officer or property book officer to increase accountable record. Delivery reporting. Military departments are responsible for obtaining the title transfer documentation up to date with the Defense of Security Cooperation Act. Agency 1000 systems. After title transfer, military department must only report material delivered with the Defense of Security Cooperation Agency 1000 systems. After title transfer, supporting delivery documentation is available. Military departments maintain reusability for the verified movement of the track with the DoD internal system. Physical delivery partner is complete. Retain documentation physical delivery. The Combat Command will determine additional paperwork beyond DoD Form 1348-1A is required with the AOR authorizing AOR to document the physical delivery, facilitate the military department documentation record management responsibility. Combat Commanders provide the military department with copies and receive the documentation to confirm physical delivery. Delivery of classified items as unclassified defense article delivery item and classified presidential determination annex occurs will transfer the title transfer classified items of the document. The DO Form 1348-1A documentation title transfer shall be maintained military department combat commanders as appropriate level classification. Military department shall also report deliveries classified by the Defense of Security Cooperation Agency 1000 system. Ensure that the record description refers to the classified annex additional details identifying information for information accountable related to activity taking place with the title transfer and the physical delivery at Articles Chapter 8 end use monitoring. Alright, 7, the program reporting requirements, congressional reporting drawdowns, Foreign Assistant Act of Section 506 reports, Foreign Assistant Act, Section 506B2, Title 22, U.S. Standard Code 2318, requires the Department of Defense to provide a report in Congress detailing all the defense services, military education training provided, recipient party, international organization, upon the delivery of such articles, completion of services, education and writing within 90 days of delivering articles and service of the military department should provide delivery data of the Defense of Security Cooperation Agency or Office of Business Operation Financial Policy and Regional Execution Directorate, Financial Reporting Compliance Division in 1000 systems. Defense Security Corporation agency prepares and reports the military department provided the delivery data. Along with delivery data, military departments must also report to the Defense Security Corporation Cooperation Agency on savings realized by using commercial transportation services instead of acquiring those services from the USG transport assets. Information required to report to Congress. Drawdown support for the United Nations. Support for the United Nations made. Additionally, Congress reporting notifications that would not otherwise be needed for the other type of drawdowns partner with different international organizations. Alright, Title 22 U.S. Senate Code 287B requires annual report of the Congress regarding U.S. support for the UN, including U.S. cash and in-kind contribution to UN peacekeeping operations. Drawdown provides in-kind contributions to excess of $100,000 to the UN peacekeeping operation to be incorporated into this annual report. The law also requires U.S. support the UN to be notified with the Congress about drawdown support pursuant the Foreign Assistance Act, Section 506E(a)(1), Title 22 U.S. Code 2318A. 1. Foreign Assistance Act, Section 552C2, Title 22 U.S. Code 2348. AC2 are exempted from the notification requirements. Such drawdown report should be notified pursuant to the drawdown authority rather than notification required by Title 22 U.S. Code 287B. Alright, Title 22 U.S. Standard Code 287 E2 that requires the USG to obtain the commitment from the UN to reimburse the USG that also provide the drawdown assistance for the UN or to partners of the partners participate in UN peacekeeping operation requirement to seek the UN reimbursement commitment that does not apply if the United States provides less than $3 million worth of support official year to a given operation. President can also waive the requirement to seek reimbursement by providing a 15-day notice to Congress. Foreign Military Training Report. All training conducted under drawdown is subject to inclusion in the annual Foreign Military Training Report. See Section C1021 for more information. Program legislation and authority. Presidential legislation and authorization. Foreign Assistance Act, Section 506A1, Title 22 U.S. Code 231. 8A1. Subject: DOD drawdown for unseen emergencies. Authorized President for the direct DOD drawdowns for unseen emergencies and requiring immediate military assistance that cannot be addressed under the Arms Export Control Act or any other law. Defensive articles already on hand of the DOD stack. The DOD services military education training may include the supply of the commercial transportation related services if the cost of the commercial transportation is less than the cost of the USG provided with the transport. Section 506 required the President to report Congress that unforeseen emergency required immediate military assistance. The aggregated value of all the drawdowns directive in any of the fiscal year under the authority may not exceed $100 million. Notification to Congress and prior notices required for the Federal Foreign Assistance Act of Section 652, Title 22 U.S. Standard Code 2411. Federal Foreign Assistance Act 506A2, Title 22 U.S. Code 2318A, DOD Drawdown International Narcotic Control Anti-Terrorism Assistance, DOD Drawdown International Disaster Assistance, Non-Proliferation Assistance, Mitigation, Refugee Assistance, Cooperative Efforts of the Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam to repatriate unaccounted U.S. personnel prisoners of war missing in action from Vietnam. No more than $15 million may be used on POW prisoners of war missing in action drawdowns in a given fiscal year. For all sections 506A2 breakdown, inventory resources that using the USG agencies may be provided may include and supply commercial transport related services of the cost of commercial transport less than the cost of the USG provided with transportation. Aggregated value of all the drawdowns directed at any official years under the authority may not exceed $200 million, of which no more than $75 million may come from the DOD, and no more than $75 million may be used for international narcotics control. Prior to notice required by Section 506, also in the Federal Foreign Assistance Act, Section 652, Title 22, U.S. Standard Code 24101. Alright, Foreign Assistant Act, Section 552C2 of Title 22 U.S. Standard Code 234-48AC2. Drawdown of peacekeeping operations. Authorized drawdown President determines for the unforeseen emergency required for the intermediate provision of the combined services as USG agencies partner international organizations support peacekeeping operation. Aggregate value drawdowns directed under this authority may not exceed $25 million per fiscal year. Congress may appropriate funds to reimburse value as provided drawdown support. And 15-day notice required for Section 552 prior to notice also required in the Foreign Assistant Act, Section 652, Title 22, U.S. Standard Code 2411. And 9, program and additional information not acceptable. Not applicable. So that was a reading of Appendix 8, Section 506, 552, Foreign Assistant Act, Presidential Drawdown.